Welcome to People with Purpose. I am your host, Sylvain Rochon. I'm a speaker, an author, a serial entrepreneur, and a business strategist. My purpose is to engineer a paradise on Earth using cutting-edge technology. I hope this show will give you excellent examples of individuals that chose to do great things in their personal and professional lives. Perhaps they will inspire you to follow in their footsteps. The show's format is very simple. I ask my guests 3 simple questions. What is your personal purpose? Why is it important to you? And how did you get started? Now let's hear from our guest.
Hello, everyone. Now you're probably surprised to see me like this because usually I dress in a very specific way, but this is a bit of a special one, as you saw from the title. I'm going to interview myself, so I won't do anything funny where there's 2 people talking with each other. This is a request from a number of individuals that have seen the People for Purpose show, and they wanted to know, well, what about me? Like, why am I doing what I'm doing, and what is my life purpose, and so on. So I decided to make the recording and just go with it. And hopefully that's going to satisfy some people's curiosity, and it'll be documented for a while on the channel. And well, yeah. So if you have any questions and comments after you see this, because I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to say, just like I surprise my guests without much preparation. Then you just send me comments, and I'll certainly do my best to respond to myself on my own channel. Not to myself, but to you on my own channel. Anyway, so as you know, the first question is, what is your life purpose? So I am just going to go ahead and answer that. My life purpose is very simple. I want humanity to be well and happy. That's really bottom line. That's what it is. And by well, I mean I want them to be healthy. I want us to be happy. I want us to collaborate and cooperate. I don't want people to be angry or frustrated. You know, I just want us to be comfortable and not have any worries. And like the whole planet. So it's pretty big, I know. But it's fundamentally everything that I work for. I've been an entrepreneur since I'm about 30 years old. Well, I was before that, but like seriously, when I actually started doing things that were significant or more complex, like starting a corporation, things like that, I was about 30, or maybe slightly before that, but not much. So I've been doing that for businesses and consulting for about 15 years or so. But so when I started doing that, the idea of the reason why I wanted to do it was, first, I felt that I wasn't achieving my goal by being an employee. I was a teacher, like a high school teacher back at the time. I was teaching chemistry, and that is influential. I mean, you're influencing students, but inside the infrastructure of education, I was teaching chemistry, sciences, and mathematics. I really didn't feel fulfilled. I enjoyed teaching, and I still do. I teach a lot. But I couldn't teach about society, about life, and I couldn't really impact. I had to follow a very well-structured curriculum so that my students would be able to graduate and get to a good college or university and so on. So I didn't feel very fulfilled inside by doing that. So when I started my first real business in 2003 or 5, I think, my first company, which was a software company. It was a software company in games, something that I'm passionate about. I love video games. I always have. But the idea was to develop some kind of reputation or influence by being successful at business. That was my original idea back in the day. And because it was games, I knew I would have some passion to do it. It turned out to being a lot of work, but I had a lot of motivation because my ultimate goal was to heal the world, right? So that was something that I carried in my professional life because I still needed to eat and to feed myself, and that being in business was a way to do that, and also satisfy my need to help people and to help the world itself. So that was the professional aspects of me. On the personal level, since as far as I can remember, I was an intellectual, and I was reading all lots of stuff, and I had ideas of becoming either a doctor or becoming a doctor or a scientist, because in my mind, those were the ways that people, those were the careers where people could really change things, like, cure for cancer, and, doing awesome research in technology to free people from whatever was a problem at the time, and eliminate wars and things like that. So that was the idea of a youngster, of a very young individual. And I remember I was reading all this stuff, and I was a lot of philosophy as well, because it's not only about the solutions like the engineering or the science, it's also about, well, where do we come from? Why are we the way we are as well? Like, to kind of explain why there were so many atrocities, why people didn't have enough food, why were there people on the streets, and why were there wars and things like that. So I did like as much reading as I could. I remember reading a whole lot of Jules Verne's, for example, because I was interested in the future as well as the past. Jules Verne's future was present, or even the past for us. But there was a lot of content in there, and I read popular mechanics and everything else. And while I was reading a lot about science, of course, and also UFOs, extraterrestrial life. And I came to the conclusion, more or less by myself, that there was no God. Even like before I was maybe 10 or 9 years old, a little bit because of my dad, but mostly on my own. I kind of figured that out. That's how I felt, right? And so even though I was in a Christian family, I felt that wasn't me. There was some kind of something wrong with this kind of ideology of the Bible and God and things like that. So, but I came up with a different theory, I guess, with an atheist theory back in the day, even though I didn't know at the time that it was that like that. That something else must make sense, and then my father, whom a couple of years prior to this moment I'm going to talk about, had become a member of the Raelian movement. And that's, I can put up a link below just so you guys know. But this is an organization that is super peaceful atheists. The general belief is that the humanity and all life on Earth was created by extraterrestrial scientists, and that meaning somebody came from elsewhere. The planet was just a ball of water, right? Like a thin bottle of water, like it's just, and then came here, terraformed, created simple life, and then over years and years and years, and like a long amount of time, progressively made a more complex life, and then so on. It eventually created man in their own image. And a lot of the myths and legends from Romans, from the Egyptians, and the Greek come from multitudes of gods. So people that are more advanced than the primitives, that are seen as gods. And that made a lot of sense to me, and it fit with a lot of the research I was doing on the pyramids and all this mythology. It kind of worked together on a rational, very, very rational level. And that's why you have all this apparently very ancient technology, very, very modern technology, but from that assisted building things 5,000 years ago, I think 6,000 years ago. Why did the Sumerians, somewhere like 6,000 or 8,000 years ago, sculpt imagery of DNA, where like DNA was just, the structure of DNA was perceived, I believe, in the early 80s. So how did they know that? How did they know there were X number of planets and so on? So it actually fit well with facts from archaeology. in my mind. So anyway, so he discovered this group that had that belief and that they were propagating that idea. And it made a lot of sense to me, so I read the same information, I started researching, and I thought that fit very well with what I was already reading. And I'm still Raelian to this day. I became one. I became very active, not because it's just an ideology, but because it's the group wants the world to be at peace, and we want to be part of a bigger community of intelligent life, including ours and the people that came here and created us in the first place, called Elohim. You can find that word in the Bible. It was often translated to God in a lot of the Bibles. It's more present in the King James version, but anyway, if you want to do research, in Latin America, the tradition there, the colonization ideas there is that. As part of their stories, that some physical beings came down, created life, had interactions with the humans that they created for a while, and then went back into the sky. So it's part of their culture. They have that understanding, that belief that it's physical beings that came down. And if you talk to, even in very Catholic areas of South America, if you talk about the aliens and things like that to people, or UFOs, they see no problem with that. It's part of their ancient culture that this has happened in the past in some way. So anyhow, this group wanted to create peace so that we could welcome those people that created life eventually in a peaceful manner. I adhere to that because it was fundamentally equal to what I fundamentally wanted to do. You know, it's all about alignment with who we are. Like I had the strong sense of helping people and creating peace on earth. And then I found a group to which I believe, and I believe the founder, and I believe all the stories, unless I get facts otherwise, right? Because it's all about rational. It's a very scientifically minded group. Then I'll believe otherwise. But I'm in alignment with what they're doing in their actions and what they're promoting, and they're being activists. So I'm active with them. And the symbol here, like I sometimes wear it for the video, sometimes I don't. I usually have a pin. That's the symbol of the philosophy. Anyway, it's all going to be down below. You can take a look at that. I don't want to spend too much time on that. But it is part of who I am and what I do. I've joined a group of similarly minded people that want to change the world and make it better. That have also done the same kind of research or thinking that I have about our origins as well. So I collaborate with and I help this group called the Raelian Movement International in a variety of ways. So that's just because it's in alignment with me. Now, more recently, after all the business stuff, I'm cycling back to the professional stuff. I felt very not depressed, but I guess energy depressed, not psychologically depressed, with all the business stuff, because it wasn't really getting anywhere. I wasn't really getting the reputation I needed to be able to help others, because people only listen to influencers, right? So that's what I wanted to be. You can do that either by having lots of money, by being a known entity, and so on. So the business was a vehicle to that, and I did reasonably well. Like had decent successes. We're able to do a lot of good business in the internet. We did a lot of services. One of my businesses, when we started off, like the first year, we did over $500,000 in revenue. And that's not too shabby, even though a couple of years later, we had to shut it down. In business, stuff happens. So I had some successes, but not as much as I wanted, or at least I needed to be able to influence a lot of people. So I thought to myself, well, I'm certainly going to be unhappy if I just get a job somewhere, because my dream is so big. There's no job for this. I have to kind of do it myself and interact and encourage the rest of the world, individuals like you guys that may be listening or reading my book, right, or my books, or following my YouTube, my Twitter, and just creating a network of just sensitive people that want to do things in a certain way and want to improve the state of the planet. And some people are very responsive. And it doesn't matter where you come from, what your belief system is, and where you think. We come from, whether you believe in God or you don't, or you're an atheist, you're not. A lot of my friends are Catholic. Like they're theists, and we just don't talk about that part. That's your own rights to believe where you come from. What I'm concerned about is, well, how about we all collaborate in making our own lives better and making us at peace with ourselves, and then we can teach that to others and collaboratively change the world, make it better. And we can leverage technology today, and this is the topic of my book, Engineering Paradise, quite a bit. It's like we can leverage what we've learned and the technological systems that we have, the IoT, the artificial intelligences that we're developing, leverage our understanding of social patterns, our understanding of emotional intelligence, our understanding of our own biology, understanding of our own biochemistry as well, how we work and how we are motivated, things like that. Leverage that knowledge and the technology that comes out of it, the applications of that knowledge, and to engineer a paradise for ourselves. So when I started writing the book, the Engineering Paradise book, which was, I think I started writing that near the end of 2016, I had taken the decision at that point that I was going to, no matter what, I was going to align my professional life, which was fairly successful as a consultant, doing lots of really cool things, but align it with the core of myself, who I really was. I'm an educator, and I'm a world changer, and I'm a dreamer. And I will be doing that and hopefully make it a living, and just by doing that, because that's what I really love. That's what I'm born for. I'm born, I believe, and I'm fundamentally passionate every minute of every day at changing the world, making it a better place. And so I created this YouTube channel. I started experimenting with it. I created all sorts of stuff just to share my ideas. And a lot of people have been very responsive. I've been collaborating with awesome individuals that have similar visions to mine, maybe not as passionate and focused as me, maybe not. But people that want to help out, that do want that challenge to effectuate a massive positive change in all of the world. And nowadays, I'm very happy to report that I'm involved in multiple projects that are huge in size. Nowadays, you're usually talking about projects that are $100 million or more. Infrastructure projects in India, in Africa. I'm given conferences on technology, AI, and social change. I'm creating more shows, some of which you haven't seen yet, but we're recording. An educational program on artificial intelligence for students in Africa that can't get a decent college or university degree. I'm involved in all sorts of stuff that are aligned with who I am, fundamentally, in trying to change the world. And it's all about the people and connecting with people and giving them hope that through their own actions, however small the actions are, networked through technology, through the internet, and because we can be together and collaborating with each other, we can change the world. Like a simple idea as the following: if everybody takes care of themselves, has the means to eat, have shelter, and have a little bit of as little stress as possible. That's why I talk about the book and universal basic income and some of these concepts, because that would be tools that we could put in place socially that would facilitate that. If everybody has that basic need covered, okay? If everybody had that. Now that's a government to people conversation and to put this stuff in place. It's already being discussed in many countries, even in the States where there's a lot of resistance for that. It's viewed as socialism. If everybody got free healthcare for basic needs and free schooling so that you can get proper education, at least the basic stuff, okay? Then all the individuals would really have to do as an exchange to society is to work at being excellent individuals. That's it. happy individuals. So if we've collectively worked on the system, like I just described, to put stress as low as possible, basic needs for everybody, that's a structural system, if we can just do that, okay? And then individuals work on just being happy, that's it. Like imagine, every problem in the world is resolved, except some of the technical stuff, right? If people have their basic needs met, maybe they don't need to fight, or they don't need to be aggressive anymore. Maybe they refuse to go to war for a government that may be corrupt because they don't want to fight another person, especially if internet is there. You know your neighbor. You can just Google it and you know who they are. And you can get the information. If you don't have a lot of stress, you can take the time to do that. If you have too much stress and you're too busy, then you're fed by the media, and you can be influenced in the wrong way, as you don't take the time to do proper research. If you're you're afraid of eating the next day, or you're concerned that your health insurance may be cut off because you won't have a job if you don't do X, Y, Z. So it's all interconnected. How we achieve peace and harmony on the planet is achievable, and it's simple. It just takes the will of the people to do it. So my goal is to educate. I'm going to teach you from all. I mean, I've been doing this research since for over 30 years, passionately, and even more so recently. And I have a lot of degrees from universities. I'm well educated. Hopefully, I can influence some individuals through success, through my speech, through whatever. And then you can join me, not by giving me money. I can't achieve what I'm saying by myself. I just want to influence people so that individuals, collectively, you have more and more people that think a little bit like I do, and themselves do simple changes in their own environment. That's all we need. And the more we have these individuals that choose and are able to make their simple changes in their own environment, well, the more we change the world, because we influence others and others and others to do the same. Because all you need is really be happy with your own life and find a way to do that. And then we save the world. It's pretty neat, huh? It's something that is also taught in the Raelian movement. So I really thank Rael, who's the founder, at teaching me these simple, very, very simple ways to actually achieve the goal I have always aspired to do. You don't need to be of any kind of denomination, of any kind of religion. Philosophy, like religious philosophy, is not important in this. All you have to do is you want to follow your own biology. We're built to be low stress and to be happy. So we want to go back into that state. Once you're in that state, nothing can bother you, nothing can influence you, and you don't want to be aggressive against anybody unless you have some kind of mental disease, and that's a very minor part of the population. So I don't really know why. Like if I go back to the earliest I can remember, I don't know why I'm like this. I just know this is who I am, and this is what drives me every second of every day. And I'm at my happiest when I teach this and when I try to do this and when I organize people in trying to achieve a global, fantastic paradise for ourselves. I even want to save the haters. I want to save the aggressive people because I know they're miserable. That's why they do what they do. They're unhappy, and so they are attacking others. And I'd like them to be happy, and then they won't attack others, and they can have a fulfilling life. Simple as that. The difficulty is actually in getting everybody to kind of agree on this. You don't need to follow me. You just need to understand that you're better off if you're happy yourself, and you'll be a better role model for everybody else if you are. That's all it is. You can check out the Rallying movement if that's appealing to you and do some research, fine. If you find this reasoning for yourself in some kind of a deist religion, whether it's you want to be Muslim, is it Islam, is it Catholic, is it Buddhism? It doesn't matter. As long as that's where you find you're grounded and you're happy and you can live in society with other happy people, awesome sauce. That's where you want to be. Everything else is secondary to that. Every government, every system we put in place, the citizens, because we are the leaders, we should be leading our government, not the other way around. Everything we should be doing should be for our happiness and contentment and for our balance. And so if you're in a position to influence those systems more than others, help me out. Help us out. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I hope that answers the questions of those that asked for this, because you asked for it, I delivered, okay? Now you can ask questions if you like. If you want to collaborate with me on certain specific initiatives, I have something special coming up. Is religion agnostic, if you will, because it doesn't matter. Happiness is important. Philosophy is great. You can get whatever you want. But I do have a little system I'm going to be setting up probably in April. And I will be probably posting something here and asking if people want to help me in a project, a pet project of mine, which involves writing a book collectively, like a collective piece, but also collectively doing something very interesting together, where we can share ideas and advance this great cause of global happiness. Is that all right? Okay, that's it for now. Ciao, and I'll talk to you more when I'm back in my suit and talking to other excellent individuals.
I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, comment, like, and share. Please join me also on Clubify, a social app allowing us to share ideas and where you can participate in some of my projects. The link is in the section below. Also, if you wish to recommend someone great I should interview, please let me know. And as always, follow your passion. See you next week.